Packin A Can with Dean Stanfield. Working a little bit of that long cut comedy. I got Regan on the podcast with me today. Regan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, man. Well, first off, thanks so much for having me, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Dude, a little bit about me. Let's see. I've been in Austin for about a little bit over a year now, I'd say. Yeah. Started comedy back in 2018. Did it the first time when I was in Los Angeles, and really started hitting it when I got here. And yeah, man, that's pretty much all I have to say about me right now.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with the first question I have is when you answered what made you start to want to do comedy?
Oh, okay.
When was the what was it when you were a child? Was it, when
So that's
15?
I like that question.
What was the moment?
So I always wanted to do it as a child. Like, I thought, I was like, dude, my dream job would be making people laugh.
Yeah.
Because I love to make people laugh.
I was the funny guy in
Well,
school.
yeah, I was definitely
the
a
class
fat
clown?
I was a fat child a little
Yeah, I
bit
was
growing
too.
up, and that was definitely defense mechanism number one.
Okay.
Was just like, all right, let's just
I'll make fun of myself before you
myself,
can.
or if in my mean stage, make fun of someone else. But I
Yeah.
mean, mostly, as you can tell from, like, if you've heard me, I make fun of myself almost
Very self-deprecating
exclusively.
humor. Yeah, I like it.
But yeah,
Was
so when I really decided to do it, though, I was a junior in college, and I was actually outside of one of our buddies' house with Parker,
Okay.
and he was like, "Dude, you're really funny. I'm moving to Los Angeles, after I graduate next year. Whenever you do graduate, you should definitely give it a shot."
Okay. He was going to
Yeah,
Los Angeles to
he'd
do
been
comedy.
I think, I mean, he'd always wanted to do it, which I was like, dude, that's hilarious. I never thought I had the balls to do it right.
Yeah.
And then he was like, dude, you should definitely try it. And that's like all it took. I was like, fuck it.
One person.
Yeah, I was
That's all
like,
needed.
oh, one person wants me to make people laugh, I'm down.
Yeah.
So I went after he lived there for about a year before I moved out there.
Okay.
And so, dude, that's
And y'all were just doing open mics up there.
yeah, man. And that's like when I decided, I was like, when he said that, I was like, fuck, I'll start writing, man. Like,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna move to Los Angeles whenever I graduate and
There
just
it
give it a
is.
shot.
There you go, and you
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
When was the moment that you were like, what? I mean, it could have been on stage. It could have been like watching an old set.
Yeah.
When was it that you were like, I can actually do this?
So I like to think it was my first set, because when I got off stage, the feeling I had, I was
Got
like,
the
there's
bug.
no drug, there's nothing on earth that gives you the feeling of even my first set. I mean, super nervous on stage, wasn't very good at all. I still got maybe a couple laughs, right? And that's all it took, where I was like, whoa. Like, that feeling that I get from making someone laugh, like, it's irreplaceable for me.
Bro.
And it's like, dude, been chasing that since that first time I got on stage,
Yeah.
where it's like, dude, I just want that feeling when you get off stage. You're like, yeah, someone thought I was fucking funny.
Dude, you got a lot of people here tonight.
Hey,
Thought
man,
you
I
were
appreciate
hilarious.
that, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was an awesome crowd, man.
Yep.
Great crowd.
We'll take a quick minute to give you a plug. So where can people find you? You're an open mic comic, as
Yeah.
as am I.
Yeah.
But where do you where are the mics that you frequent?
Yeah.
Where you
So I'm Buzzmill. Every Tuesday I'll be there. Wednesdays, if the ROMO Room's doing it, I'm here, baby. And if not, I'll do Halcyon and Mueller. Kick butt every now and then for sure every Thursday I'm trying to get up at Volstead or Velveeta. Yeah, man, those are the places. Those are the best mics, at least to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's take a minute and watch what you did tonight.
Oh yeah,
Me
let's
and
do it,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Rehab was definitely interested. You look at me now and you're like, privileged white kid. You're not wrong, but my parents hate me, so I did not go to a Passages Malibu. I went to some fucking shitter in Georgetown where they served cold bread and half-cooked bacon. So I get there the first day, and my roommate's in my room, and he's sitting in the corner like this, whispering to himself like, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, what's up, dude? And he just goes, and I was like, oh, fuck! Heroin. That's a drug, I guess, huh? It really scrambles that shit up. So I didn't talk to him at all, ever. And what would happen is, like, maybe once a week, this big skinhead tatted up dude he would come and steal my cigarettes from me, right? He'd be like, pussy, give me your fucking cigarettes. I'm just like, yeah, dude, fucking hell. Just don't touch me. I'm so soft. And then, so like a caretaker would see this happen, right? And he'd be like, yo, dude, you okay? I see you, Travis, fucking with you every day. And I'm like, Travis, he's a rascal. We're best friends. And he's like, you are crying. I was like, my body's confused, okay? I'm withdrawing. He's like, it's been 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't know. But the best thing that happened to me when I was in rehab was we were sitting in our circles one morning. And these circles are meant to be talking about like how you progressed with your addiction, clean living. That's all horseshit. But what was going on was the guy who was leading our discussion had Chick-fil-A. We couldn't have outside food or drink. My boy Rodney sitting next to me was like, yo, man, can I get some fries, right? The guy gives him some fries. The head caretaker sees this from across the room. He walks up. He's like, yo, don't feed the animals. Rodney didn't like it. I'll tell you that right now. He stands up. He goes, oh, I'm a fucking animal? I'm your pet? You gonna throw me in the cage? You gonna feed me bananas? And I'm like, yeah! You gonna feed us bananas? He goes, shut the fuck up, white boy. I was like, yeah, dude, you obviously got it under control. If you need me, I'm right here. So yeah, that was rehab in a nutshell, man. It was great. I'm not sober, so that was fun. I love Xanax still. Dude, back to the white people. Let's just keep talking about white people. This is fun. I like talking about white people. White people. Okay, so here's a story. I was really into this girl in high school, and she was like, "Hey, why don't you come to a yoga class with me?" I didn't even know what yoga was really. I was like, "Sure, whatever." So we show up to the class, and the instructor is sitting in front of us like this, and she goes, I'm going to just take a second here, and I want to ask, this has been an emotional year for everybody. It's been kind of sad. And everyone's like, oh my God, yeah, so emotional. And she's like, I knew it. The water dragon is alive this year, and he's creating sadness in everyone's life. I'm like, what in the fuck is yoga? I'm like, all right, this is a cult. And I see some like 45-year-old woman like totally buying it. She's like, oh my God, I thought it was my divorce, but it's definitely the water dragon. It's like stupid water dragon. But I mean, when I went through that class, it was like, okay. Everybody in that room besides me was like, yeah, water dragon for sure. That is why I think almost every cult you've ever seen, it's all white people that are following it. We're so fucking stupid. We will literally listen to anything. You stand in front of people, you're like, yeah, dude. Earth is flat. You're just like, yeah, this guy's Earth's flat, dude. So if you don't suck my dick, you're not going to be able to be doing yoga. And you're just like, logic checks out for sure. Yeah, all right. Cool. What else do we want to talk about? Oh man, I recently have called 911 for the first time in my life. It's going to go interesting. I didn't know it was doing the right thing would make you feel so racist. Okay, you already know. Okay, so I wake up in my apartment, drinking all Saturday, 5 a.m. I go to get some water. Walk through my living room, and I walk back through my living room, through the sliding glass door. I see 3 guys breaking into cars, right? Initially, I don't give a fuck. It's not my car. My karma is if I don't call the cops, my truck's getting stolen. No questions asked. So I'm like, fine, fuck. I'll call 911. I tell them what's going on, right? And so they go, we're going to need you to tell me what everybody's wearing and everyone's ethnicity. And I'm like, please do not make me do that. And they were like, we're going to need all this information. I was like, then ask your questions. And they go, okay, so what is the first one wearing that you see? And I was like, he's wearing all black. And they're like, okay. What's his ethnicity? And I was like, black. And they were like, okay, cool. What's the second one? I was like, oh my God, it's the same. And then they go, okay, what's the third one wearing? I go, all right. He's wearing a white t-shirt, baggy black jeans. And they go, okay, cool. And I go, what's his ethnicity? I don't know why I can't say that word right. And I was like, okay, I think he's Hispanic. And they were like, why do you think he's Hispanic? And I was like, he's shadowboxing outside the car that they're breaking into right now. So if that's any indication, it's safe to say that's probably what's going on right now. Thank you for that clap. How much time do I have? I haven't seen it live, but that's definitely the closest to me. I'll keep talking. What do y'all want to talk about? Cool. So I recently just like kind of figured out that I'm gonna leave y'all with this one, just really end it hard. I found out the kind of girl that I'm attracted to, right? Every girl I've been with or dated. You know, they're skinnier, which is not a requirement, right? But they have a very strong jawline, very defined facial features, and I don't know why. I mean, kind of a masculine chin. I prefer, you know, not gay. That's what all the straight guys say. Definitely not gay. But it's also I like the defined jawline because it's really easy to connect with when she talks back to you. I'm Regan Williams. Y'all have a great night.
Oh,
Dude, my thought was, I'm the last one. I can't walk this crowd.
yeah.
Yeah, right? I might
Yeah.
as well say shit and
Look,
let's see what happens, right? Why not?
yeah.
They were liking everything. Dude, they liked the racial joke I said. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're drawing the line at hitting women. I'm just kidding. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
dude, you could hear just everyone in the like, and you looking at the crowd, you could see the husbands like
Oh, yeah,
recess
dude.
back, recess back, and they're like, oh, and they see like a couple of their wives laughing, they're like, oh, thank God.
That's
Like,
like,
that was
I was
awful.
telling,
That was like the
I
most
think,
awful
I think I was
thing
telling someone
anybody said all
outside.
night.
I was telling someone outside, I was like, dude, that's like, I look at jokes sometimes, I'm like, I want that response just because like,
Yeah.
now you're paying attention. Like if I had told a joke in the beginning, that's like something I would usually do. It's like, I'm going to catch you really off guard. And, then you're
find
listening to
something
me. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't like what I just said. Oh, that someone's like, oh, hitting women's bad, which horrible. It's a joke. I don't obviously. That's right.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
dumb.
it's like,
It's
but I
comedy.
got your fucking attention,
Yes.
right? Now you don't like what I
It
said.
came
Now
out of
you'll.
nowhere. It's
now
a
you're-
massive misdirect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my thing tonight. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it hit hardest
Yeah.
when I said the Kobe bit. I was like, it's not even about Kobe.
Dude, I love that so much.
Like,
yeah,
oh,
like,
relax, guys.
yeah, you're like, dude, get
It's
over
about the guy
yourself.
that shot Abraham Lincoln. That happened like 150 years ago. Fucking calm down.
That's hilarious, dude.
I
I
know what
fucking love that
happened.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I did it at a show. Andre Ricks was going up. I was hosting,
Oh hell yeah.
and I was talking to Andre, and he was like, "Hey man," I was like, "Man, I don't know what to do." Like Gabe Davis was there
Yeah.
before him, and I was like, "I'm bringing them up. I want to ride this energy out, but I shouldn't do because I don't usually host, right?
Yeah.
I'm just started doing a little bit more, trying to pick up that style of comedy, and so I was like, I don't really know, like, what should I do in this situation? Like, Andre, he's the homie.
Oh yeah, Andre's the man.
Dude, Andre's
Yeah.
the man, dude.
Puts me up on Buzzmill, bro. Shout out to
Dude,
Andre. Big
shout
shout to
out
Andre.
Big shout out to the homie, Andre. And so he was like, dude, just do like a one-liner.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I got some one-liners.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll run a couple by you, you know? I ran the first one by him. He's like, that's okay. And he was like, you got any dark humor? Dark humor's been kind of working.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I got one, man.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? So I told him. And so for reference, what the joke is that I crumple up a piece of paper, and like you say, what's his name? You say is, hey, and then somebody in the crowd goes,
Kobe.
no, that's it's John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, dude, I fucking
Like
love
the
it.
misdirect,
Dude.
and then it's like
It's all it is, man.
that's all
Yeah.
it is. And it was horrible. And I was like, Andre was like, do it.
Yeah.
He was like, do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I want to like ruin the room. He was like, bro, I'm good at digging myself out of the hole.
Yeah.
He's like, it's even better if you just crash. He's like, it works better for me.
Yeah, exactly,
So
right.
I go up there, and he's like, I'm like, yeah, dude, throw me under the bus, bro. We could be like, oh,
Yeah.
that was rough.
Exactly. Then it's especially I really like the
Now you get
comics
to
like
show him what comedy is.
Yeah,
you know?
dude, exactly.
And then
Hey,
like,
dude.
if it goes well, then that brings the energy up. And if it tanks,
yeah.
then the next guy,
The next guy honestly has a clean slate. I look
Yeah.
at it sometimes. I sometimes would rather go after someone who bombs than go after someone who's crushing because like Pat crushed tonight and I followed him.
Yeah.
Great energy. And that
Dude,
was
I
great,
think
right? Pat brought
everybody
the
tonight
fucking energy.
just fed off of
Yeah.
each other's
It was
energy
fantastic, dude.
and
It was
just
so
rolled. It was a wave,
Dude.
bro. And everybody rolled.
My
it out.
favorite mic I've ever done in my fucking life was tonight, man. This was a
Dude.
great fucking mic, dude.
Great
You
fucking
hosted
mic.
like a
Holds it.
motherfucker too.
It was fun.
But that's the thing. Like sometimes following someone like when Pat just lays it down like that.
Yeah.
Especially like more of like an open mic scene where it's like, if you eat shit, it's that much worse because you just lost
Yeah.
that room, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you come in after someone
Now-
just ate shit
Yep.
and you bounce back and you're like, all right, that joke's funny.
Yeah.
Or like if you
And
don't
then
get
you
laughs
know.
and you're like, well, it wasn't all me.
Yeah.
But
But
those
here's
jokes
the deal with
obviously
that.
did,
That's
yeah.
the thing with open mics is like that happens. That's something
yeah.
you got to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you're gonna put up with at shows.
No.
It's something that could happen
Yeah.
at shows.
Oh,
That's
for
why
sure.
you need to be. That's why it's a great part about doing
Yeah.
all of these, like potentially bad open mics. that the crowd isn't paying attention to you, you
Yeah.
know. But the great part about that is if they're talking to their friends or they're not there to listen to you. They wanted to come drink a beer and it happened to be that you're on
Exactly.
stage. And now you're the weird guy in the corner telling dick jokes, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so now you got to reach over there and you got to grab them. So like there's one that we do, big shots.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about big shots.
Yep. And I was one that you hear so many people talking shit about big shots, but here's the deal. You get 10 minutes. You get to get up on that stage and try everything. Nobody's paying attention to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like bad. Like people, every single face in that room is turned around. There's one guy that's there every single week.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that it's happening. And I've seen him look up from his phone like once.
Yeah.
The guy in the back table, Pat knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so this last week, I finally, like, it all pays off when you have the one joke.
Yeah.
That it just, like, it catches. And it's like, if it works there.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna
like
you
earned that.
You
earned that fucking like recognition for that joke too. That's when you know it's like that joke's.
I will take 2 claps if
Yeah.
somebody claps for me at big shots. It's like, hey, here. I'm like, that is almost just as good as destroying a room.
That's how I'm at Tramps, dude. I've only been there once,
another,
and like, but it's a cool spot to like. I mean, a lot of people say they like to riff and just kind of do crowd work, but like the one time I was there was like 4 people that weren't comics, so I'm like, I'm not doing crowd work. Yeah. I think it's a great spot to like. I learned like a timing of one of my jokes there, where it's like I told it on stage and I just like knew I was like, no one's getting laughs tonight. Like I'm gonna obviously try to make the comics laugh because at this point that's who I care who laughs. Like they're the funny people, and if I can get them to laugh, the joke's real.
That's another great part about it.
But it's also I was like,
comics.
dude, just fuck it, say it, be calm on stage, and say in the order you want this joke to be, because it's one that I was like really struggling with, like the order of how I was gonna like what tag goes where, right? And
dude,
and
that's
tweaked one thing, and I was like.
And is it weird that you'll tell a joke like 10 times?
Oh.
And then like the one I had, that I talked about, a Florida bit that I had. I wrote it, a little while ago. And I'm going back and forth on it. And it was like, to me, I wrote it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so excited. I went back. I went to do the open mic. And like it made me like, I was like,
I love it.
It made me laugh. And then I went and I did it like 5 different open mics.
Yeah.
Nothing. I changed. I think I paused in between 2 things.
Yeah.
At the right time, and it took off.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, so that works. And then I kept doing it, and it's just one of those that it's a great leading into something. I just haven't found what it leads into.
That's kind of where I'm at with like my Matthew McConaughey bit and like talking about how white people say cringy shit. And it's like I was telling Rob outside that joke does really pretty well for what it is, but I always miss my punch with that, where it's like, Matthew McConaughey's like wild turkey or whatever, right? And, and it's like my thing is what like my point's supposed to be.
Kicking chicken also is what country people call it.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Kicking chicken.
Kicking chicken. Yeah. I'm gonna say the shit out of that, dude.
Yeah.
That would about make it great. But like I'm supposed to finish that joke with like talking about how like full of himself he is, right? And it's like the joke's supposed to end with like, there's a 100% chance that Matthew McConaughey finishes in his mouth, or like at least has tried to suck his dick 3 times. Like there's no doubt in my mind. And so like sometimes that works, but like when I have said it, that is when the joke does crush, because people are just like, that's fucking stupid, but it's like,
that's dumb.
It's pretty funny,
but
though.
That's funny.
It's really stupid, but it's funny.
No, it did really well tonight.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, that was funny.
Yeah, dude, I had a great time, man.
So talk to me about what is your writing process?
So my writing process.
So it's not like you just don't get up on stage and you fucking, I got a funny thing to do today, and then you just say it. Like it takes. There's a lot of So what is your style?
So I usually start with like I'll get like the concept, like the concept, and it's usually from things I experience, or like something I'll be like in passing with like a conversation I've had with someone, and someone's like, "That's funny," and I'm like, I write down on my notes bullet point of like, this is the topic I want to talk about, right? And then it's up to me later to sit down and be like, I'll give like myself bullet points like where the conversation would like, if there's a funny quote that someone said, or like I said something that like someone's like, yeah, that was a really funny thing you just said.
Yeah,
I can tag it onto a joke I've been waiting to write, right? So I always start with like the base and like maybe a couple funny like bullets, but then I have to sit down, like I write around it, like I make shit up, like half the things I fucking say never happened, but it's like I just like pad both sides of it, fill it out, lead into what I want. I mean, I feel like I find a lot of punchlines too, or I start with like a really like strong middle tag, and I can write around it, and then I'll find a funny punchline later.
Okay,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's usually how I do it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's a. I mean, it works for you.
Yeah. What about you? How do you write?
Oh shoot. So I've got 3 different journals.
Yeah.
And I go through and I've got one where I'm like, I think this was kind of funny. Boom.
Yeah.
I usually write them in my phone, and then I tag them to that journal. And then I write like, okay, this is a one-liner. This is a one-liner.
Yeah.
I've got one full of one-liners. And then, or maybe like funny stuff that could be funny in the future. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm putting it here. And then, I've got another one where I write out all of my bits.
Yeah. Okay.
So I practice writing. Like for me, memorization comes from writing out like what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Fully in that deal.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, I've heard
pause
said I'm big on that too. It's like I have to physically write it. I can't type out like a whole joke. I have to write it out because like I will remember it in a second. But if I type it out, I'm like, what was I even saying?
Yeah,
like
I
don't even
damn
know.
it, what did I say? And then
Yeah.
I referenced my phone too much, so I started just writing full form that the jokes that I get from those. And then I have
Yeah.
another one where, and I keep this one next to my bed. And before I go to bed every night, I write out, or when I wake up every morning, I write out. Okay, so I take like some of those little bullet points, some of those little
Yeah.
taglines. But most of it's just like free form, like, oh, what would I woke up this morning, I had a dream about a fucking rhino.
Yeah.
And it's just like bullshit. Like there's a lot. If I find something that was funny at 3:00 in the morning, I'll write that down and make sure I'm like, because I'm not sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I might as well
Yeah.
write. And so I'll write and write and write and write. And then at the end of the night, I take 10 minutes and I grab my deal and I go through and I'm like, okay, read it again. Okay, I thought that was funny this morning.
Yeah.
Probably not that funny, but there's a sentence in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take that sentence. I'm gonna put it on a bullet point
Mm-hmm.
in my bullet point journal. And then let's see if I can write on that later.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. For
But
sure.
it helps me like, instead of like, I used to read before I went to bed.
Yeah.
You know, I used to pick up a book, read a
Yeah.
little more or whatever, and I used to read. So I just transitioned that
Yeah.
into, and then it helps me like wake up in the morning,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I'm like, they say like that's where your creative juices are flowing
Mhm.
or whatever. And so I heard it on a podcast, and I was like, I didn't have a writing technique before that. I would
Yeah.
just write stuff out on my phone or
Uh-huh.
write stuff out. Oh, that's really funny, and I would just, oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really noticed a huge change when I started
Yeah,
doing that.
for
Like,
sure.
That's when I started like developing jokes and being able to tie things in together.
Mm-hmm. For sure,
And,
man.
That's what I do.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude.
Writing stuff.
I mean, humble brag. I guess cool. You can read, man. I'm still learning.
That's
But...
what I laugh about the dyslexia. So I have dyslexia too,
dude.
and it's like, ooh. And
Dude.
the way that I got over it is my dad. Like when they told him at the school,
Yeah.
they're like, "Your son is dyslexic."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay,
Uh-huh.
what does that mean?" And they were
Yeah.
like, they're like, "Well, he has a problem reading."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, well, how does he get over that?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
what is the deal?" And
Yeah.
so they're like, "You got to make him read. Like, you got to make him sit down."
So annoying. That's exactly what happened with me, man.
Dude. And they're like, and so my dad literally like picked the biggest dumb book. Now it's
Yeah.
not a dumb book, but like just the most giant thing at the. He's not he's a reader,
Mm-hmm.
but he reads like westerns and stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Well, maybe why don't you pick a western for your son?
Yeah.
Something he's interested in. No, he picked Harry Potter.
Jesus Christ! Like make made up words. to
Huge word.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, this word's made up, and he's like, I think that's just nerd talk. Here, keep reading, son. What does it say? But it was
It's just nerd.
surprisingly that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Then I had to go through and those like Expelliarmus.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, Dad, I don't think this is a word. He's like, sound it out. Make sure it
Sound
is a
out.
word.
Yeah. Honestly,
when
that's,
it comes
that's
up.
cool. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had that like, if I look at and it's like a word, I'm like, maybe that's not a word.
Yeah.
Maybe that is a word. Let me focus on that
Yeah.
word. Whereas before I'd be like, that's not a word. Go
Yeah.
away.
Dude, so for me, it was like the same thing. They pulled my parents in, and it was like in second grade when they tested me.
Yeah.
And they were like, he's definitely dyslexic. And they're like, okay, cool. And they're like, how do you know? And apparently, like, a symptom of being dyslexic is like you avoid reading and like pretend like as a child, like, so they gave me like a story to read, right? And I had a picture.
It's just bullshit.
And I did not read a single fucking word of it. I just went off like the 2 pictures in the article, and they
Do
were
you
just like,
think that's
"What's
where a lot of your creative shit
Yeah.
came from?" Because I did the same
yeah?"
thing.
And they were like, "What's the story about?" And I was like, "There's a tree. It's obviously fall." And they're just like, "The story's not even about the fucking tree." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely skimmed it." And they're just like, "No."
You didn't even fucking try.
And dude, so the thing is like, same kind of thing with my parents. It was like, "How do we fix it?" And they were just like, he has to read on like his own too. Like, you all have to be pushing him.
Yeah.
And they got me hooked on phonics, which did not work at all.
No.
Now I'm just hooked on drugs. Kidding.
Oh man, where is my?
Oh yes, that was perfect for that
Dude.
joke.
I
That
was
was
on
horrible.
fire
I
with
hated
this thing
myself for
last
that. But yeah, no, and like so, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the happy one.
That's the happy
It's
one.
so long, like, and you have to let it play out
Yeah,
too.
let it play. But what happened with me was, so that didn't work. They sent me to a dyslexia summer camp.
Okay, like fat kid.
Yeah,
fat
dude,
camp
literally
for
it was
those
like
kids.
learning like I before E, and it was like, I mean, it helped a shit ton, but it was just
Yeah.
literally like a summer camp where it's like you're reading, and they're like, here's the alphabet. And I was like, I am not.
Can we go play
that-
games now?
I am not a complete idiot. Thank you. I know the
Oh, I
alphabet.
know.
Yeah,
Don't
and they're just
you
like,
hate that.
it's A, B. I'm like, okay, we can skip this part. I'm like 12. Like
Yeah,
we can.
I'm good,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You don't have to start from the bottom. Pick it up.
I didn't know you were dyslexic though, brothers.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Dude, dyslexia, brother. man.
Yeah, dude.
What is it? Never mind.
Dyslexics, untie.
Ba-bam.
Get it? Instead of unite. God, I'm throwing out horrible jokes.
Don't judge this.
Yeah, this is not how this set went.
The set was fire, bro.
Dude, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Man.
Thank
I love
you.
what we're doing here.
This is why I write, because I obviously am not super
I know,
funny.
There's times like I really respect Pat for this reason, that he has the confidence. Like, because when I do bits, like I sit there and it's either in my mirror, looking at myself.
Oh, you practice?
Oh, I practice. Like when I do that joke about the lineman deal, that's what I do all day long.
Okay, yeah.
So like I just sit in the bucket, like, because there's times where I'll be stuck in a bucket for 4 or 5 or not 4 or 5 hours, 2 hours, and the lines are spread. So I've got 14,000 volts in this line. 14,000 volts on this other one, and they're in between me, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm waiting for the people to finish up on the bottom working. And I would sit there, and I'm like, okay, what do I got here? And then I just like creative thought, or I practice a bit. I'm like ketchup bit. Catch it. Just repeat it. Blowjob bit. Repeat it. Finger up the butt. Repeat it.
Dude.
And so
those are also the ketchup bit. Fucking cracked me up today, dude. I love that one.
That one's great.
Yes,
I'm really happy that one came out the way that I thought. And so that's the joke where it's like, oh, when your power goes out, like stop and be like, oh, it's fine.
It's just
you just thought of a good dick joke.
Dude, that's so fucking good.
Yeah, and then so the next thing, who are your influences in comedy, man?
So like I definitely have some that are like older, and then I have some that are like current, like kind of up and coming. So like if I'm talking about just like guys that I definitely love watching right now. Who did you see
for the first time?
Who did I see for the first
and you're like,
time?
Oh my god, this guy, like this is a thing. People make people laugh.
Dude,
that hard?
Ron White when I was a kid, man. I loved, and like my dad loves Ron White, and like that was when I really was like, when I was really young, I loved Jim Carrey. I didn't really obviously grow up on his comedy, but like just him in the movies, I would find his videos when I was younger and like see him like just be so goofy and like
talking
so much
out of his butt, like
literally
dude,
so much like
around
wild
him, like,
energy. Wild energy, right?
Love it.
And like doing the faces and shit. And I was like, dude, this is hilarious. Like I love this guy. And like definitely the first comic I ever saw was Ron White, and I mean, dude, fell in love.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day.
I remember driving to Kingsville, Texas to do a rodeo, and I was driving in my little fucking Dakota, and I had to pull over to the side of the road because I was like, my stomach hurt, and I couldn't focus. Like that's how hard I was laughing. And I remember rewinding it like 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
Like, God.
What bit was it?
He's in New York and they throw him out of the bar.
Oh yes, dude.
Oh,
fuck
bro.
yes.
And then his goat.
Yeah.
His goat joke.
Dude.
Bro.
Dude, even like I didn't know.
I dream of coming up with a 3-minute bit like that.
Yeah, never, dude. Yeah. I couldn't do that. And the funny thing, I went to school in Kingsville for a year.
What?
Went to A&M Kingsville,
Texas Kingsville, bro?
Yeah, dude. What's up? Go Habs, baby.
Go fucking Javelinas.
Go Javelinas, baby.
Rats.
Yeah, dude. I know, man. I don't look the part. You would have never guessed. You would have never guessed I would.
There's a lot of. That's where you transferred over to Kingsville.
I transferred from Kingsville to A&M. Yeah.
Dude, those were my 2 party schools.
Dude. Yeah, you know what? A&M Kingsville does not get any credit.
No, they don't, man.
They party.
They party.
They drink a lot.
I've gotten. Mom, don't listen to this part. I've gotten trashy. I had there was one where I got caught trying to sneak into the football field.
Okay, yeah.
Because it was at that point
so easy.
It was you remember when we had our tailgates?
Yeah.
And then it's like right there, and I'm like, I'm not paying for that shit. Fuck no. But I was wearing overalls and only overalls. And so one of them got caught on the fence. Here's the deal: I didn't wear, like, I was just in underwear underneath it, like my shirt's off.
You couldn't bail from that.
And I was like trying to take it off. And I was like, I'm gonna get a public indecency for sure.
Yeah.
And they came up, and I was like, I'm caught on that little fence thing that they had on the corner, and all my buddies were like, for sure, ditch me quick. Whatever, that's fine. They take off, and I see the Kingsville PD walking. Kingsville PD, by the way.
Don't fuck around.
Don't fuck around, man.
They do not fuck around.
No, like you do not get caught.
No.
And so I just I did the wiggle.
Yeah.
Got my the deal off of there, and I just
no shit.
But then they stopped, and they were like, the whole time I was like, dude, I'm wearing no shirt with overalls.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna find me. Bro, there were so many of us out there.
Yeah, dude.
Like they for sure pulled somebody, and they're like, I saw you on the.
Everyone's being an animal during those tailgates, honestly, dude. And the thing is, what was so funny is Country Luau was literally on campus, dude. I lived at those dorms that were the closest.
Dude.
I lived in Turner, dude.
I lived in Turner for
201 Turner. What's good, dude? Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine, Ben Gonzalez, lived there, and his roommate dipped. His deal.
That happened a lot there.
It happened so much,
Yeah.
though. And then they don't just replace somebody. So now you get a room.
You have and I would see people
That's the
push
party
the
room
beds
now.
together
Yep.
and do queen bed and just have a whole open space. Yeah, you're just drinking beers in someone's room now. They don't
Fucking A,
dude,
dude.
so much fun.
The best RAs.
Dude,
I don't give a shit.
the best RAs. Even though we had the
Weird
cops called on us one time, me and my roommate, because we had some weed in our room, and it was we never smoked in our room, right? Like never ever. But like my roommate had it in his tackle box, and it was so smelly that like we would open it and like go to like one of our friends lived off campus, so we would go smoke it at his place, and just us removing it from that tackle box and moving it, the whole room would fill up. And so I came back from class one day.
Some good stuff.
And there's 3 cops in there just knocking at my door. And I was just like, whoop, turned around and went and I bailed and I called my room and I was like, yo, we have an issue at our dorm right now. And he was like, what's up? And I was like, there's cops. And he was like, okay, fuck, well, we both didn't go back to our dorm for 2 days. But they didn't, so like apparently they tossed the room, but you can't open up anything.
Yep.
You can only what's in plain sight. And so we were cool, but like that was the one thing I was like, that RA, not very chill. And that happened. Apparently the funniest thing is, so they called me in one day and they was like, hey, you know why we called you in, right? And I was like, no, don't know.
Deny.
And so I denied it.
Did you see me do what you said?
Exactly.
I did?
So like I denied it.
And I didn't do it.
I denied it all the entire time. And then he was like, look, this is the 3rd time we've gone to your room. And we had no idea they'd ever been to our room. And I was like, he could tell that caught me completely off guard. I was like, what? He's like, this is our 3rd time. If we have to come back again, we are getting a warrant so we can toss y'all's mattresses and like go in y'all's closets. And we were like, well, last day we were ever having weed in our dorm.
Thanks for the heads up, bro.
Yeah, I was like,
Appreciate
thanks for
that.
letting me get away with this, you idiot.
Yeah.
But dude, the Luau, man.
Oh, there's so many good nights. Dude, bro.
So many good nights.
At any given time, you can just go over there and like the booths are just filled up with hammered people.
Yeah, and they're just some of the most fun people to be around hammered, dude. I had so much fun. Oh my God.
That is crazy. I can't believe you went to Kingsville.
I know,
man.
right? I loved
How
it,
old are
man.
you?
I'm 25.
Dude, there's a pretty good difference. Did you graduate 2012?
I was class 2013.
Oh, okay, so maybe it was a year after because I was there of 2013.
Okay, cool.
That's when and it was the first couple months, and then I got a job building power lines, and I never went back. But I went back a couple times.
Yeah.
But that place, man, Kingsville was man.
Dude.
Some of the house parties, bro.
Dude, I had
right on Frat Row, right next to the Luau.
All my friends were in a fraternity, and they tried to get me to rush, and I was like, no thanks, dude. I'm probably not gonna be here that long, but I will absolutely party with y'all, and it was dude, so much fun. I got kicked out of the Luau like hundreds of times. I was the guy who would like be hammered, drunk, and try to take a neon sign off the wall, and they're just like behind me, like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Whoa, what?"
I wanted to take.
There's like, "You gotta leave." The funniest one was like,
fair.
they caught me at closing. I was putting a beer in my belt, and I had like a pearl snap on. So I tucked my pearl snap over it. The bouncer saw me do it. I go outside and I'm playing dumb, like I don't have it in my belt, right? Because I just bought it. He grabs it out of my belt and like smashes it on the ground, and I was like, "This guy just grabbed my dick!" And then he just grabs me and just throws me onto the ground.
They don't give a shit.
And then, dude, they didn't give a fuck. And he was like, "You can't come back and do that again." And I was back the next day, and I was like, "I'm genuinely sorry that I was being an ass." And they were just like, "You're not the worst, dude."
Yeah,
And I was like, "And that is fucking right. I was never the worst in there."
Yeah.
Nah.
There was some bad things, man. And then my always hate was, I think it was that year the cops started doing patrols.
Dude, they would walk through.
They would walk through. And I'd never seen that where cops just like walk through the bar. And I wasn't 21 yet.
Yeah.
But that night I had I was so close to being 21.
Yeah.
That I was like, I'm just gonna DD tonight.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. And this cop came up and he was like I had the exit on my hands, and there was a drunk chick, and she was trying to make me drink, you know. And I was like, I'm DDing tonight, like I'm fine, like I'll party when we get back, trust me. And then she like put that thing up to my mouth and like chug, and he very nice, Kingsville PD.
Yeah.
He just like tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, come with me. And I was like, oh, can you let me finish the beer, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
We walked outside, and he was like, oh, I'm just trying to like you got it. What are you doing here? You know, you're a college kid. I'm like, no, I'm not actually a college kid. I'm working.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, you want to ruin your life like this? Like, give me the whole talk. I was like, bro, I don't. Charge me or don't.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we
I'm
doing
not
here?
here for that.
I have a father.
I will ruin my life all on my own. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do not need.
Yeah,
your help,
I don't need you to point it out.
And so, tell me a little bit more about like, where did you grow up?
I'm from San Antonio.
Okay.
Funny thing is my dad's also named Dean. So if I
What?
accidentally call you dad during this, just completely ignore it.
Kind of look like a father figure anyway.
Yeah. Another bad joke, but yeah, man. When I'm from San Antonio, Alma Heights High School. It's a little area inside of San Antonio. It's like
Oh.
Terrell Hills, Alma Heights area.
Do you know where my grandma lives in Bernie?
Okay,
or
yeah.
lived in Bernie for a really long time, and then we owned a lake house on Medina Lake.
Yeah, love Medina. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, they owned it. My great grandpa bought it,
Mhm.
and then my grandma owned it, and then
Yeah.
they just sold it.
We used to have property out in Castroville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
So yeah.
We're close.
Yeah.
Beautiful lake.
Oh yeah,
It
fantastic, dude.
yeah,
It's a great lake.
I grew up a lot there.
Yeah, dude. You're from where are you from again?
Oh, I'm from everywhere, man. All over Texas.
Yeah.
Born in Alpine.
Okay.
Moved to Georgetown when I was a kid. My dad lived in Florence. My mom lived in Gerald. I went to high school in Georgetown.
Okay.
And then my parents separated when I was young, and then got remarried.
Yeah.
Then
That's wild.
yeah, no, for sure. And then they got separated.
Uh-huh.
My mom and my stepdad got separated.
Okay.
And then later on, my dad and my stepmom, like, I just eventually told them, like, guys, and they got new people now, you know?
You're like, dude.
And I was like, I gotta, like, at some point, like, when do I,
Like, how serious is it?
how serious is it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna
That's
hang on
fucked.
for very long. No, it's fucked. And I'm so glad that I have my stepdad.
Yeah.
So, he's been in my life since I was 2.
Yeah, so he's probably
He's my
the
father
man,
figure. Yeah. I mean, so is my dad.
Yeah.
I'm glad my stepmom love everybody. To
Yeah,
death,
which is great.
which is great.
Yeah.
It's sad that they, had to split ways, but it happens. And
yeah.
so when that happened, I was on my own,
Mhm.
like living with my mom essentially, and she was paramedicing, and she
Mhm.
wasn't there as often, and so my grandpa, I got in a little trouble,
Yeah.
and so my grandpa was like, hey, I'm gonna, I can take him, and so he lived in Los Fresnos,
Yeah.
which is down the valley right by South Padre.
Mhm.
And,
Oh, yeah.
So I moved down there my sophomore year in high school, and then finished up, started building power lines, started doing rodeo, and then
Rodeo, that's sick, dude.
yeah, man, it was a blast. I had a really good time doing it. Just grew up in that community all my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And then my dad is a farrier, so he puts the shoes on horses.
That's sick, dude.
My stepmom was a horse trainer, and then my grandpa bred racehorses.
That's the dopest thing I've ever heard, dude.
Yeah,
Are
man,
you kidding me?
it's-
That's
yeah,
sick.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
It gets awkward sometimes when because they gotta. When you breed racehorses, they don't just take them into a place and say, "Hey, you'll have fun."
Yeah, it's
You know?
very forced.
They have to. Well, they take
Yeah.
this giant thing, and then they collect the semen.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is not always my grandpa's job, but it was great to go visit him. And then there's like some young intern that
It's
wants
your
to be
turn to do it.
No. I was like, I'm never. But you just watch these young interns, and they're like, "Hey, come be an intern with us. You're gonna be a vet someday. It'd be great." And they get him there, and they're like, "Okay, well, what are my jobs? What am I responsible? Am I feeding horses? Am I checking horses? No, you're gonna see that guy. See that horse over there? We're gonna put him in a stall. You're gonna jack him off every day."
Oh, dude.
And it's like, oh man, that's
Yeah.
your job.
Now is the time to rethink
How
that.
bad do you want to be a vet,
Yeah,
bro?
dude,
Like,
exactly.
how bad do you want to be a
Dude,
vet?
that's what I thought going to A&M too, because I knew those kids had to do that shit,
Mhm.
and I was like, really, you wanted to be a vet? Like,
They're
I
just in there
respect
jacking
that shit.
horses off.
Yeah, I was like, I respect it, but I
Yeah.
would.
Would not want to be.
No.
That's not the life that I lived. I
No.
wanted to lead. That's how I know very quick. Very
Yeah,
quick.
right away. I'm like,
I mean,
I'm
also
out.
they probably wouldn't have let me into A&M. I tried. They were like, no.
They should
that's-
never have let me in. I didn't even graduate. Dude. I fooled them a little bit, and then they were
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, we've horribly misstepped with this kid."
With this kid. No, dude. I was like, I applied for A&M, didn't make it, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll go visit my friends,
Yeah.
and I got the best benefit. I didn't
Yeah.
have to pay anything,
Yeah, you just go
and I got
party.
to go to Northgate
Dude, Northgate's
all
so
the
fun.
time.
I fucking love
shout out
Northgate.
to Northgate, bro.
Yeah, big shout out
The
Northgate.
chicken.
The chicken, dude. Big shout out to Chimmy's. Big shout out to Cedar Lane.
Ooh, the Tipsy Turtle.
Tipsy Turtle, dude.
Oh, those pickle bomb shots.
Dude, yes.
Oh,
so fucking good.
Fire, man.
Dude, so good. I love, dude. The thing is, like, I'd have friends come from like all over, like party schools, like Old Miss, and they were blown away by Northgate.
Yeah.
because like they have great bar scenes, like their party. I mean, Alabama might be one of the best party schools, right?
Mhm.
Like, so is Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
Every time people would come from those schools, they're like, dude, we don't have anything like Northgate. I'm just like,
No.
damn right you don't
It's
have
a
anything.
culture.
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's bro. If you don't play dominoes at the chicken,
If you don't even at least do it once, like I get
Yeah.
it. Like, so if you don't want to go to the chicken, I love the chicken.
I
I go
love the
play
chicken.
pool there minimum once a
Oh,
week,
yeah.
dude.
you
So
got the
fun.
rattlesnakes in the corner.
Yeah, dude. So it's cool atmosphere. Like
Yeah.
it's like what College
You
Station's
buy
about
pitchers
too.
of beer.
Super
It-
cheap. That's
yeah,
like the last cheap
super
bar
cheap.
there. Like most
Yeah.
bars are kind of expensive there now,
Yeah.
but like that's what you can get super
I got
cheap.
kicked
pitcher
out
beer.
of the backyard.
Yeah,
Dude, I had the
fuck the
one
backyard.
of the fuck the backyard. First of all, let's give a shout out to everybody else besides the backyard.
Yeah, backyard can
because
suck it easy.
I was like, okay, I was drunk. I was obviously drunk. People
Fair.
are getting in
Yeah.
there that's drunk.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So I walked in, but I was when I'm like hammered, I get like very like I can still keep my stuff together. I'm just like, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
I walked up there to remember that, do you know that shot deal, the wheel?
Yeah.
You get like a cheap shot.
Yeah.
So I went over there, I grabbed a shot, and I bought 4 of them. I handed them to my buddies. We all toasted. I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm looking at the security guard. I walk over to the dumpster, and I go, then I walk back over, and I stand with my friends, like nothing happened. And the security guard walked up. He's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
man?
what the fuck was that?
You need to get out, bro.
And you're like, what?
Probably have alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Like, you need to start. And I was like, calm down, bro.
Relax.
I'll be fine. I've done a lot worse.
Yeah.
You know? And then so he was like, no, you got to take off. You got to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, cool. So I left out, and then I walked around.
Oh, the classic.
Through the
classic move.
What is it? What's the bar that's right there? Shot Row. It's right next to the Shiner Bock bottle. By the way, there's just a place where they take
wasn't Mad
cabs.
Hatters, was it?
Oh, yeah, Mad
Was
Hatters.
it?
I go out through Mad Hatters. I go to the opposite side of
Yeah.
the backyard. And I'm like, hey, man.
The classic.
The dude gets on the walkie-talkie, and he's like, yeah, guy, pretty eyes and a red shirt.
Pretty eyes.
And I was like, and he was like, yeah, bro, you just got kicked out of the other side. I was like, damn. I then walked away, took my shirt off,
Yeah.
changed it inside out, and then I walked back, and I was like, hey, man, what's going on? He was like, how many times do we have to do this, bro? Like, what are you doing here? And I was like,
You're like, I've got him with this.
Like, I walked over
inside.
it did not work.
Yeah,
and then I walked, and all my friends are in there, and I can't tell them my phone's dead. And I was like, they're just like, oh, Dean disappears.
Yeah.
So that's the funny part with my friends. If they're watching this, I'll just like disappear for a night, go make a whole lot of new friends.
Yeah.
And at one point when we were early friends, they were like, oh, we got to go find Dean. We can't make sure he's lost. I have this weird way of just showing up right when I need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just this luck thing that it's just always happened to me. So they don't never worry about me.
Yeah.
They'll just leave, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, the Uber's here. Fucking, I hope Dean figured it out.
Dude,
and then I'll like walk up and I'm like, hey guys.
You're like,
and they're like, fucking okay.
yeah, dude.
That, or I make sure that I have the key to the house.
Yeah.
Or I make sure I have like something of somebody's value.
Yeah.
So that, like
you can reconnect with some. Yeah, you can't. Don't lose me.
Yeah, don't lose me. You can't
Dude,
do it.
That's how I am. Like my roommates will be like, we don't. Like, they'll be like, Reagan's been missing for 2 days, but like he's fine. And I'm just like, I'll come home and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And because like one of them's like missing for like 10 hours, and it's like,
and they're all like, we gotta find him.
Dude, is he okay? Should we call him? I'm like, dude, I've been gone for over 48 hours, and like I didn't even get a text. And they're just like,
you
just like wander back, and I'm just like, I guess. Thanks. I don't even know what this is like.
Appreciate
yeah,
it, man.
Thanks, man.
What
but dude,
the hell?
I'm the same way. So it's like, I'll go out and meet new people constantly. Like, perfect example. This is a bit I'm gonna bring on Wednesday to try to get y'all to help me with. I'm trying to write. I haven't written it out. Just happened Friday, so I'm leaving Buford's on West 6th, right?
Okay.
Didn't even want to be there. I'm leaving the bar till like 1:30. I'm about to walk home. I live kind of close, and I was also pretty drunk. I'm badass. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm leaving this bar. I'm leaving this bar, and like this kid who's like probably younger than me in this brand new Beamer, drop top Beamer, yells at me. He's like, "Yo, dude, come here." So I was like, "What?" I walked over to him, and he was like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I'm like, "I'm going home." And he's like, "Do you want to come party with like me and like my girlfriend and all of her hot friends?" Tempting. Yeah. So I was like, why me? I was like, I'm not saying no, but like, why did you pick me? And he was like, you just seem like a cool dude, and you were just walking by at the right time. I'm about to leave, and I was like, that's enough for me, man.
Yeah, you didn't know this guy at all.
No, I had no idea who he was. No idea.
That's great.
Just literally had no idea who he was. So I hop in, I just get in his car. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's enough for me. You think I'm cool? Like, I'm down to party. Let's fucking go. Yeah. And I get in his car, and immediately he peels out. I can tell this kid is shit faced. And I was like, I have made a horrible mistake.
That warm feeling.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, my face got hot. I was like, I'm in danger. I'm in very much danger right now. So he takes. I'm in this car for maybe a minute. He goes down the oncoming traffic down 7th Street, and I'm like, okay, you can let me, dude, for like 2 blocks too. Like cars are honking at us, and I'm like, dude, you can let me out whenever. Like I don't really want to party anymore. He takes a right off the street, pulled over immediately.
Oh, cops.
Cops.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And so he's pulling us over. And before this kid was telling me he's like a French citizen, like he'd been like driving horribly. And I was like, yeah, dude, like chill. And he's like, dude, we know how to drive, man. And I was like, I don't think that means right now, dude. Like you obviously like almost hit one of those pedicabs. And I was like, dude, I've got to get the fuck out of here. So we get pulled over, and the cops are like coming up to the door. And I'm like, yeah, what's your plan? And he's like, I got it. And I was like, I do not think that you've got it. Yeah, bro. His confidence was unmatched. I was like, I was nervous. And
you're going to get slammed.
I was like, the worst case for me is,
Wilco.
yeah, the worst case for me is getting an Uber home.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm fine.
Huh?
And so cop comes to the door, and they were like, hey, have you been drinking tonight? He's like, I've had like 1 drink. And he's like, how long ago? And he's like, 2 hours or whatever. Have you had anything to eat? He's like, yeah, I ate, before I started drinking. And the cop looks at his buddy, and he goes, have you had any head injuries today? Because he's like, dude, slurring so bad.
Yeah.
And they get him out of the car, and I'm just like sitting there. And so this cop pulls up, and he walks up. He's like new to the scene, right? He walks up to me. He's like, yeah, what's going on? And I was like, dude, okay, you're not going to believe anything that I say to you right now, but I am a big enough idiot to where I got in this car. I don't even know the kid's name. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. And they were just like, what? And I was like, he told me he was going to party. I don't know. I'm hammered. I just said yes. And I was like, I know I'm a huge idiot. And they were just like, okay, cool. Grab my ID. I guess he probably said the same thing because they didn't even ask me about it anymore. They're just like, you don't know him? Yeah. And I was like, no. They come and ask me, it was like, can you drive his car home? And I was like, dude, I just told you I'm hammered.
I'm hammered, not my fault.
And I was like, dude, I also
see what you're doing there,
don't know where he lives. Don't want this Beamer with me at all. And they go, okay. While he's doing his sobriety test, his girlfriend's power calling him, and he left his phone in the car. So I answered, and I'm like, hey, you don't know me, but your boyfriend is getting, like, he's going to probably get a DUI. We got pulled over. And she goes, well, how is he doing right now? Like, what, is he in handcuffs? And I look behind me because I'm still sitting in the car. And it's like him, every time he takes a step for the drunk, like the little walking line test, the cop is like, dude, no, you just start over. Just start. Bro. And I was like, hey, so he's not in handcuffs yet, but it's not looking promising for him. It's not looking And I was good. Like, you're going to need to come pick up this car or it's going to get impounded. And she's like, you can't drive it. And I was like, bitch, that is not my problem.
That's not what I'm doing
So
here.
she shows up. No questions asked. The cops give her the keys. Like, she's hammered. They give her the keys. I don't know what happened with that still. Like, that's the funniest thing about that. She drove that car.
Just off into
and
the night.
they checked me for warrants.
Did they take him?
Yeah, he got handcuffed and like put in.
So he was lying. He was definitely drinking.
Oh, he was shit faced. Dude, the cop like laughed at him when he said he'd had one drink. He was like that. That's why they're like, have you had any head injuries? Because he's like, just like barely formulating sentences. So he's getting put in the back of the cop car. She grabs the keys, and they're like, they check my license. I'm cool. They like just give it to me, and they're like, you're good to go. And I was like, word. And so I'm like talking to the girlfriend, and she was like, I'm gonna drive. And I was like, it's probably not a good idea. And I was like, also, what are your friends doing right now?
Still,
and she just goes, fuck you.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah,
bro.
I was like, all right, cool. I'm
Shoot
gonna call an Uber.
Yeah.
Dude, I sat there and watched just shit go down in front of these cops. Like, so I sat on like the corner for like 5 minutes waiting for an Uber. Some drunk kid walked within 5 feet of one of those cops and was pissing against that car.
Oh,
he had no idea. And I'm cracking up watching this, and he looks up and like notices there's a cop, and he's like frantically putting his dick back in his pants. And I was like, dude, that's hilarious. The funniest thing is right before my Uber got there, this drunk fucking chick is like clicking her keys, trying to find her car in the parking lot. We got pulled over, and she walks in between all these cops, and they're like, can we help you? And she's like, I'm looking for my car. And I can see it blinking across the parking lot. I was like, hey, I think it's over there. And she's like, oh, yeah. And she like starts walking away. And I was like, are we just gonna let that happen? And they're just like, we don't give a fuck. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we're at a DWI stop. You can potentially have another, like, avoid that at all costs. But you're just like, go. And they're just like, yeah, they were literally just like, she's an adult. Like, if she decides to get behind the wheel, like, hopefully someone stops her. Like, I mean, she's like
that's the crap.
I'm like, hopefully someone stops her, or a fucking telephone pole, you dick.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Why not go? But then, like, there's the potential where they like go to stop them, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, whoa,
I guess you can't because she hasn't done anything wrong. Yeah. You can't. I mean,
they're not allowed.
Like, what?
But at the same time, like, where's your decency?
But then it's also like, when does a PI come involved? Like, could you not just like spare her the fucking D-dub, or like getting her or hurting someone else, and like, hey, look, like, you cannot get in the car. Or like, if you're thinking about driving, it's a bad idea. Like,
give her a suggestion. Like, hey, you should get an Uber.
I bet if they had told her, it's probably not a good idea. If I hear that from a cop, I'm like, I'm getting an Uber right now. Like, sure. I'm not gonna even fuck with getting in my car. Like, no way. But like, they didn't even attempt to stop her. So I was like, dude, what is going on? This is wild. So that was like the coolest thing I've ever seen live. So that's the new bit. Hopefully I'll come.
Bro. I was laughing.
Hopefully I'll come Saturday with some more shit like written out as far as like a joke format. Okay. But like, dude, that's the new bit.
Dude, that's fire, bro. There's a lot to that.
There's a lot of directions we can go with that for sure.
A lot, like,
and I recorded all of it on my phone. I voice recorded most of it. The moment I got in the car, I was like, this is gonna be a joke. Like, if I end up at this party, best case scenario, I end up at the party, right? Yeah. I'm gonna record everything because I don't know anybody. Like, this is gonna be hilarious.
It's gonna be great,
yeah.
Man.
So I get to like listen back to it, but it cut out a bunch. Because I just disappeared. Yeah. And all my friends are like, I do it all the time. And they were calling me. Every time they'd call me, it would pause my recording. So like, I miss like hilarious parts. So I'm like, fuck. And I'm like recording it. And the cops were like, what are you doing? I was like, recording.
Oh.
And they're just like, okay, cool. And I was like, are you like trying to use it for him? I was like, no, honestly, I'm just trying. It's for a joke. And they were just like, okay, whatever. And I was like, all right, my Uber's here, bye. And it just like left.
Deuces.
Yeah.
Dude, that is great.
Yeah,
man.
dude. Hilarious.
Seeing bits happen in front of you.
Oh, dude,
like
so
as a
funny.
comedian,
Yeah.
like it's like you see stuff happen. Like I'm gonna make this a joke for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And I don't think I would have gotten in that car if I didn't.
That's
if
literally
I didn't
the
do stand-up.
ketchup bit. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, like and right after it happened, I was like, yep,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
Exactly.
Gonna be funny.
I love when it just like unfolds in front of you. It's like, yep, absolutely going in the act. Like,
Great, man.
100%.
Well, I do. Well, this is the portion of the show where you pick a question.
Oh, right
pick
on.
a number.
With a number, I just say a number.
1 to 3,000, bro.
Let's do 1994.
Oh damn,
When I was
bro!
born.
You were born.
Yeah.
Fire, 1994. I was a 93 baby. I was a 93 model. December
93
2nd,
models,
93.
dude.
It's a good year. Good vintage.
Good vintage.
As if I'm a fucking vintage. If you were famous, who would you be excited to get interviewed by? Oh, think carefully, bro.
Is that for me?
Yeah, that's for you, man.
Joe Rogan.
Oh, not Dean Stanfield. Okay, well, fuck it.
I'm not famous though. If I was, you'd be number one.
Joe
dude.
Rogan's for sure,
Yeah,
man. Have
for
you ever,
sure.
I watch it every single
Oh,
day.
dude, I fucking love it, man.
Like
I
even the
love
ones
it.
I think I'm like, I'm not going to be really interested
Dude,
in this.
That's
like,
what
it's
I
a
think is so
physicist,
crazy.
That's not my thing.
Yeah, dude. Like you'd think that you'd see something. It's like, yeah, he's like, does astrology or like he's like, chemical engineer for like some huge firm or is like rocket scientist. I'm like, I'm an idiot. I'm not gonna know anything that they're talking about. But dude, he makes it to where like some dumb shit like me is like, I'm like, oh, this is space and stars and like gravity. It works a little bit different. Yeah, dude. I've been up there before. It's sick.
Yeah. Dude, he's been a huge inspiration to me for sure. Watching his stuff, the way he calls back, the way he just talks about normal life, like consistently.
See, that's like I love that too. Like I love because like I try to say things like even though like if I say something like dicey like that joke about like they're breaking into cars, like Joe Rogan is very much like he is like observational. It's like things that like people can relate to because it's like instances that have happened to people across the board where it's like a very like common thing that's you've been put in this situation, right? You've witnessed this. I'm gonna say this because you're not comfortable enough to say it in public. But I'm kidding. Yeah. And it's like
it's
this
a
isn't
joke,
here
bro.
to it's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And I can make you a little uncomfortable because it's funny and you'll laugh at the end, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And as long as you just have the idea, like most crowd members know we're joking.
Yeah.
Like we're there to make them
especially
laugh.
here.
Yeah.
See, that joke bombs at Mike's when people don't. It's like they're there to drink beer, and I'm like, well, let's roll the dice a little bit with how tolerant y'all with racial jokes, and then they're just like, oh, that bombed, and I'm just like, I'm not a dick, I swear. And everyone's just like, I don't know. You just talked about also hitting a girl.
Yeah, that's the other thing
like,
too.
Dude, I always double down too when I like tell a dicey joke like that. Like I made a joke about these people that I got kicked out of a mic one time because they were shit faced, and they were like,
you were shit faced, or they
were shit faced, and they were like chirping to everybody on the crowd, like they were heckling everybody, and I was super pumped because I had written like I only had 3 minutes. It was at Buzzmill, and I was like, I'm just gonna rip them. Like, there's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna be like a dick, but I'm definitely gonna make fun of them. And
Dude,
the guy
that drives
had
me crazy when a host comes in there and they're like, oh, this next comic or whatever, and they're making fun of like the comics that are sitting there.
Yeah, dude,
and
that's
then
not
you
cool.
get up and then which is fine. We're gonna be heckling. Okay, we're heckling.
Yeah, we're
and
heckling.
then you make a joke, and then they're just like, dude, why are you picking on me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't be a piece of, don't do that.
Don't do that. So the thing is like, and they had been taking it fun, but they were just like obliterated drunk,
Yeah.
and so they got kicked out right before I went up, and like. The guy had like neck tats and like was like straight out of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
And he had his chick with him, and they were just like just trash like biker people.
Dude, I love
fun,
it,
dude. They
bro.
were
Every time I see somebody, I always go to my
dude.
crowd work because I look at them,
dude.
and I hope that every time I see that person, and then my joke is like, oh, like wait till they're heckling, you know? Or maybe not. We just call them out.
Yeah, just call them out.
And then I'm like, oh, you look like the guy that, let me guess, daddy issues?
Yeah.
Or meth? Oh, no. Oh, it's a weird combination of the two. I get what you're doing.
You're like, who hurt you as a child?
It's for sure your dad.
And
then you double down with meth.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly, dude. That's the thing.
I handled it like that.
And like, I would have gone up in that situation. I was going to go up, guns a-blazing. I'm going to call them out right away because they'd been chirping to everybody, but they thought it was funny. Like, they were having fun doing it.
Yeah.
Some of the comics were getting butthurt because like they're trying to work on jokes. I get it, but like, dude, have fun too. Like,
you know it's there.
Yeah, like if
you don't like it, start your own open
if you're
mic.
if they're fucking up your jokes and you can't get it out, why don't you just make fun of them? Like, why don't you like work on your it's so beneficial to work on your crowd work, right? That's what I was gonna do.
There's some open mics where I don't even try shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I might, but then like I do one bit that I've been really excited about, and then the rest of it's just crowd work.
Yeah, dude. And that's the thing is like my joke for them was like.
And it comes so in handy when you're fucking up in a show or you're fucking up in another open mic.
You can grab something out of your pocket really quick and just be like, I know how to kind of address the crowd really quick and make it like I can steer away from me bombing and like gain back a little bit of momentum with like something stupid I fucking say to someone, right? And for them, I was like,
damn, girl, I can smell your feet from here.
Yeah, dude. Yo,
I didn't say they were bad. Why
girl,
are you
you're gonna
upset?
need to fold those legs for me.
Oh, no, I was talking about feet, but yes.
Yeah, no, I know. I had to
That's
go
it.
there.
Yeah,
I always,
for sure.
the thing is, like, when I see someone
Get 'em.
pipe up, I'm like, if you talk during my set, I'm gonna ruin your day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be nice. Like, I'm gonna be very
really
mean.
good at finding out what you
Oh.
don't like about you.
Dude, so like these people, I was like, they left, but I still told the joke on stage. I was like, so they were annoying everybody, right? And I was like, look, I was gonna say this with them here, but I'm gonna say it now. It's like, if there's a God, he got on that motorcycle just shit-faced, grabbed his girl, they sped down the road. He wanted a little bit of excitement, maybe held his hands over his eyes, wrapped himself around a telephone pole.
Oh.
And the crowd goes, oh, and I go, don't act like they weren't annoying you. Like, and some guy chirps up, he goes, it's funny because it's true. And I was just like, there you go. There it is. Like, and that's like, I mean, dude, I love to just like get fucked up with it. And like this one chick at Volstead the other night, doing the same thing, like just chirping at people.
Yeah.
And dude, you always have to have it like in the back pocket. And this one dude just, you could tell he was like seasoned comic, and he was just like, all right, let's talk about you really quick. Spotlight on her, dude. It's like she like those mouthy people who like want to like they think they're funny and they'll say like one thing, and then when the comic's like, oh no, the mic's in my hand, like I have more to say than you.
Yeah, I can talk over you.
Yeah,
I
and
promise.
then he's like, I'm louder and I have more to say than you. And then he like started talking to her. She said one thing back, and then he started talking again, like making fun of her. And she just like backpedaled. And he was like, yeah, it's not very fun now, right? Like you weren't ready for that, right? And he's like, I'm here, like I'm not here to be your friend now. And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Double
like,
down
fuck
on
you,
this
bitch.
shit, man.
Yeah,
there it is. Like, and that was what I did that here, where I was talking about. I can't remember what I said, but I was like, I said something about a woman, and then I was like, and everybody laughed. It was a fine little deal. And I was like, but here's the deal. I can't see. Does she have a husband? I can't see if anybody's like the spotlight's on me right now. I can't see. So like, somebody warn me. Somebody be like, hey, he's coming for you, and I'll just fucking take that.
And you're like, and that's
stand
how
to his
Dean
head.
broke his jaw.
Yeah, for sure. Like, golly, man. Well, dude, it has been a blast having you on this podcast, man. I'm so glad you did it.
Dean, thank you so much for having me,
Yes,
brother.
sir,
dude. This
brother.
has been so fun.
And tell again, give a quick plug.
Yeah,
Give
dude.
your Instagram handle where people can
Instagram
follow you.
unfunny_Regan. You can follow me there.
Right here.
Right here. Right here.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I just got
Yeah.
sexy
Got a
on you
little
guys real
tippy tap.
quick. Every Tuesdays at Buzzmill, Thursdays
Open mics.
Volstead, all open mics.
Yeah.
Book me if you see this and you want to. I won't tell racial jokes. You can tell me not to. I'm kidding.
All right, man. That's great. Hold on. Let's ready? Get that finger gun up. There it is.
There it is, dude.